All right, welcome in, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Definitely. Always excited to see what we're analyzing today.
Well, get this. We're looking at a writer who's using AI to write like a full-on supernatural thriller novel.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cutting edge.
Right. It's called The Liminal Veil, and we've got a screen recording of them using this AI, Claude AI, to actually rewrite a whole chapter.
So we're not just talking about like grammar checks here. This is next level stuff.
Oh, yeah, this is AI as like a creative partner, which is both fascinating and, I gotta admit, kind of freaks me out a little.
I know what you mean. It's like, where does the human element end and the machine begin? But, that's what we're here to explore.
Exactly. Okay, so what are we looking at in this screen recording?
So we've got two windows. One is a Google Doc with the novel chapter, and the other is the interface for Claude AI.
Okay, so the writer's going back and forth between the two.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They don't just throw the chapter at the AI and say, have at it. They actually start by customizing the style of the AI's responses.
Wait, they can do that?
Yeah, they actually created a custom style they're calling Liminal Lens.
Liminal Lens. Okay, that sounds appropriately spooky for a supernatural thriller.
Right. And to create this style, they basically feed the AI an example paragraph of their own writing.
So they're like training the AI to write like them. That's wild.
It is. It's like showing the AI their literary fingerprint, so to speak.
So then what? Does Claude AI like just take over and write the whole chapter?
Well, not exactly. The writer inputs like almost all of chapter 1 into the AI, and then Claude rewrites it in that liminal lens style.
Okay, but is that it? Is the AI generated chapter just the final product?
That's where it gets really interesting because no, it's not just a copy-paste situation. The writer spends a good chunk of time editing and refining what the AI came up with.
So it's more like the AI is a starting point.
Yeah, like a supercharged first draft. And the writer is still very much in control, making the creative choices.
I like that. It's like a collaboration, not just a machine takeover.
Exactly. And you can really see that in the edits they make. Like, for example, there's a spot where the AI used the word perfume. The writer changes it to ozone.
Interesting. Perfume is pretty generic, right?
Yeah, but ozone has that electric, almost metallic feel to it.
Ooh, yeah, like the air right before a thunderstorm. Kind of ominous.
Exactly. And it just fits the mood of the scene so much better.
Okay, that's one tiny example, but I'm already seeing how powerful this could be.
Oh, yeah, and we're just scratching the surface here. But before we dive into more of those specific edits, I think it's worth taking a step back and considering what this whole process tells us about, like, the bigger picture of AI and writing.
Yeah, good point. I mean, is this the future? Are we all going to have AI writing partners someday? And what does that even mean for creativity?
Big questions, for sure. And that's what we're going to unpack as we keep going with this deep dive.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole new world, isn't it? Like, think about it. If this writer is using AI to just kind of reshape a single chapter, what's next,
Right, like, could we see novelists using AI to, like, plot out their whole books? Or, I don't know, maybe even generate different storylines to choose from?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless at this point.
And it's not just novels, right? Like, imagine screenwriters using it to help them break a story, or even like songwriters using AI to come up with melodies.
Exactly. It's really kind of blowing open the doors of creativity.
Okay, but I gotta ask, doesn't this raise some questions about originality? Like, if everyone's got an AI writing buddy, won't everything just start sounding the same?
That's a valid concern, and honestly, it's something a lot of people are worried about.
Yeah, it's like, will we lose that unique human voice? Well, here's the thing, right? The AI is still just a tool at the end of the day. The writer, the human writer, is the one who's guiding it, making the choices about, what to keep, what to change, what story they want to tell.
So it's more like a partnership then, like a back and forth between human creativity and AI capability.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is that collaboration, that interplay might actually lead to even more diverse and original work.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. AI can process information and make connections in ways that we, as humans, just can't.
Right. Like it's not limited by our human biases or blind spots.
Exactly. So it can introduce writers to new ideas, new perspectives, stuff they might have never even considered on their own.
That's a good point. It's like having a brainstorming partner who's like read every book and watched every movie ever made.
Right, but then the question becomes, how do we make sure that that human voice doesn't get lost in all of that?
Yeah, like how do we hold on to that unique perspective amidst all this AI influence?
Well, I think it comes down to intentionality. Writers need to be really conscious of how they're using the AI, making sure it's not like dictating their choices or stifling their own voice.
So it's all about striking a balance where
Right.
you're embracing the possibilities of AI, but also staying true to your own vision.
Exactly. And it's funny, we've talked about the technical side of things, like those large language models, and we've even touched on some pretty philosophical questions about, originality and authorship.
Yeah, it's been a pretty deep dive so far.
It has, but let's not forget about the specifics of this writer's process. I'm still really curious about some of those edits. Like, why change perfume to ozone? What do you think is going on there?
It is interesting, right? Like they both evoke a scent, but ozone is just, it's so much more.
Yeah.
It's got that
like
zing to it.
Yeah, and I think that's, a perfect example of the writer using AI to really like fine tune the writing. You know what I mean? Like perfume, it's kind of
generic.
Yeah, generic. It doesn't like tell us much about the scene, but ozone, that's got that almost like metallic tang to it, like the air right before a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
I get that.
Definitely creates a sense of anticipation, maybe even a little unease, which, totally fits the whole supernatural thriller vibe.
Right.
Yeah. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference.
Oh, for sure.
Setting the tone. And like, if you look at the original chapter, this scene takes place in this like old abandoned house. So that word ozone, it almost adds this layer of like,
ooh, electricity.
yeah, like something.
Like something's about to happen.
Yeah, like something supernatural is like crackling just beneath the surface.
Okay, now I really want to read this book.
What about some of the other edits? Like there was that one where they took out the phrase, it was something. That one seemed kind of random to me.
It might seem random, but it's actually a really smart move. Like phrases like, it was something, they're kind of like filler words. They don't add much, and they can actually weaken the writing. So by taking it out, the writer's making the prose like tighter, more impactful.
So it's about being precise with the language.
Exactly. Making every word count.
I can see how that would definitely elevate the writing.
Totally. And then there's that line, now sharp, that they add in. It's just 2 words, but like completely changes the pace and focus of the scene.
It's like a sudden shift in perspective, right? Like the camera zooming in on something.
Yes, exactly. It creates that sense of immediacy, urgency. And again, it shows how the writer's using these edits to shape the reader's experience, like really control the flow of the story.
Wow. This has been a fascinating deep dive. I mean, who knew there was so much to think about when it comes to AI and writing?
It's a rapidly evolving field, that's for sure. And it's definitely changing like how we think about creativity. But what's really exciting to me, even with all this like crazy technology, the human element is still at the core of it.
Right. It's not just about like handing over the reins to the machines.
No, it's still the writer, the human writer, who is like making the choices, shaping the story, bringing it to life.
That's a great point to end on. I think it's easy to get caught up in the wow factor of AI, but at the end of the day, it's a tool, and like any tool, it's how we use it that matters.
Well said. So as you're going about your day, maybe think about this. What could you create if you had an AI partner, helping you explore your ideas and refine your craft? I mean, the possibilities are endless, really.
That is something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.